Invite. You join us live from virtual circuit Paul Ricard for Shake and Bake Formula One. I'm Rick James, 36, here to bring you every lap of this beautiful pinnacle of racing action from circuit Paul Ricard here. There you can see my car that's apparently ghosted. Not sure about that. Hell is Here is actually going to be leading this race. In the first position, More Than a Cape sitting there in second, Skyline third, Leafs Justin 4, Dion 4 Dub 5th. There's Iser rolling off, Gary from Canada rolling off 6th, Iser 7th. David McSee 1989 rolls off 8th, J-Mac 9, Rangers 10. And one final car there at the end that's not meant to be there. Apologize for that, running in the final position. But we're going to take a look as the leaders get through the last bits of this circuit. There on the far end, for those of us that have never seen Paul Ricard, it is a beautiful, beautiful circuit here in France. Formula One has been coming here for a number of years now. And there's the full track map, start to finish. There you can see they're now coming around that very wide spoon curve there, if you will, almost as they call it in Suzuka. Weather was dynamic earlier today. The weather was a bit rainy during the qualifying session. Drivers were on full wet tires. But now it's a dry surface. Hell is Here leading us around the very end of Sector 3, and they'll be getting in formation to start the French Grand Prix in the Shake and Bake Racing Series. Drivers getting up to the grid. There are all the drivers. Rangers finally lines up and gets into position. 10, 11 cars now locked in place, ready to go from circuit Paul Ricard. Oh, a couple of drivers jumped the start. You saw them move, and 3 penalties already. Skyline, Dion, 4 Dub, and Gary from Canada, all assessed penalties. You can see the flags. They jumped the start with the lights, and already pieces falling off race cars as well. The end plate has gone off the Haas for Gary from Canada. What a horrible, horrible start for those 3 drivers. Again, we apologize for the glitched cars that are in this field right now. Hell is Here, 36, breaking out into first place with no penalties. Skyline in the second position. Iser 1 now in third in that Alfa Romeo, and then his Alfa teammate right behind him, Dion 4 Dub, but he's got a penalty already. There you can see the penalty flag on that Alfa. Let's take a look and see what it's going to be. According to the race director, these penalties are going to end up being a drive-through for these cars, and already up against it. 3 laps to serve that drive-through. Now with Gary from Canada, there you can see he's already missing one of the end plates on that Haas. And just a bad start indeed, but it doesn't have to It doesn't have to stay bad, fortunately. There's going to be time to come down pit road, possibly change the tire compound as well. But straight away, Hell is here, already getting a grand lead. There's the Williams of Skyline now coming down pit road to serve his drive-through, and it looks like Dion Ford Dub in the second Alpha is also coming down for his drive-through. Gary from Canada, now the third car, has yet to serve his penalty. There's the 3.2 second gap to that Alfa Romeo. And quite a gap to Hell is here already. There you can see the Mercedes already through turn 4. And the graphic giving us the predicted stop strategy. If it's a one-stopper, they'll probably switch to hard tires around lap 15. If it's a two-stopper, right before then, you'll see drivers switch to the medium compound a little bit earlier. But it doesn't look like anyone is on the soft compound. There you can see Iser 1 already gaining 5 positions thanks to a few penalties there. And the only driver that we find on the soft compound so far is Rangers. And no penalties from Rangers, but he is sitting on the soft tires, so that means that Rangers is going to be trying his fastest to get through this field immediately. However, it's going to mean it's a 2-stop strategy for the driver of the number 4 Papaya McLaren. With Gary from Canada, who's also sitting on soft tires, he has not come down pit road, and you can see because he still has the damage on the front wing with these soft tires. It's not a substantial amount of damage on the front of that 74 Haas. However, it's enough to make a difference, and he is languishing behind 10th place Dion Ford Dub, 22 seconds behind, and we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. They wave it green now. A couple of drivers losing control. Here's Iser 1 in Sector 3. You can see on your track map there. Let's zoom in on this track map, and you can see it's not a grand gap at all headed into Sector 3, this left-right section, before they get to the DRS detection zone. Look at that McLaren there, Rangers 15, just on it. And there's the pass right there. We were just going to switch to the inside. He turned on the DRS, and he makes the pass right before the corner, and that's the pass for second place. Rangers just seemingly taking it with ease from Iser 1. Now Hell is here is in first with a 5-second gap back to Rangers sitting in second. There you see the Alpha of Iser 1 in third. Don't mind the Ghost there sitting in the 4th position. Leafs Justin sitting in 5th, and J-Mac, his Racing Point teammate, in the 6th position. Again, only 2 cars sitting on the soft compound tire right now, and Rangers making the best of it. However, the gap is increasing to Hell is here in the Mercedes, almost 5 seconds as Hell enters the DRS detection zone and completes lap number 3. There's the gap to second place right into the first corner. Iser 1 right behind him, but even grander than that, the same gap to first and second is right around the same gap between third and 4th place. There's Leafs Justin in one of the racing points, and J-Mac, who just got around the glitched car of the broadcaster, of Rick James, if you will, now sitting in the 5th position, still 2 seconds behind the leader. Now, if we take a look at overall gap to the leader, you can see the gap from 1st to 3rd is the same as the gap from 4th all the way to 7th. Skyline sits 27 seconds behind the leader, and now Dion Ford Dub has collected a penalty in the Alfa Romeo. We'll flash up the race director and pull up the incidents, and Dion Ford Dub looks like he has a drive-through penalty. That's for the jump start. And it's multiple warnings for Dion Ford Dub. 3 seconds there, and the Alfa Romeo now up against it. 4 drivers so far already with penalties today, and the skies are starting to get just a little bit dark over Circuit Paul Ricard. in the 89 car, the only Red Bull we have, David McSee, 1989, sitting in the 8th position. No penalties so far, but he does find himself 24 seconds behind the leader. In the Williams, he started first in this number 21 entry, and he's picked up a penalty already, but making the best of it. Skyline sitting 21 seconds back on these medium tires. You can see he gets right out to the rumble strip before starting out this lap. One of the 3 Canadians in today's field in the number 34 Racing Point machine. It's J-Mac, the J-Mac 34, 16 seconds adrift of the leader, but still climbing through the field here. Here's his Racing Point teammate, Leafs Justin, just 2 seconds ahead, but still a great distance behind, but he's starting to close the gap to Icer in this Alfa Romeo. The gap still remains at 4.8 seconds between Rangers and the leader. Hell is here. Rangers on these soft tires should be able to close the gap to the leader, but Hell is here just caning it. And another penalty for Dion Ford Dub in the Alfa Romeo for multiple warnings, and it goes from bad to worse for the driver of the Alfa. That's 6 seconds there in the last couple of laps, so it's going to be quite the comeback for Dion if he intends on finishing in the podium positions. However, we're only 5 laps into this race. Anything is possible. Let's ride along with Hell is here as he gets ready to start a lap at Circuit Paul Ricard. Through the final section and a wonderfully smooth lap. You can see on the top left-hand corner of your screen, the gap has been increased to 5.2 seconds. Now, on this 7th lap of competition, 21 laps remaining, and Hell is here on the medium compound. Let's go ahead and pull up a different setup of telemetry here. You can see 6 seconds worth of penalties to Dion Ford Dub, 3 seconds worth of penalties to Gary from Canada already. Those drivers will have to serve those. A few drivers at the start of this race, if you're just joining us, we're also given penalties at the start of the race. ECR Kool-Aid in the chat with 100 bits. How are you, Kool-Aid? Good to hear from you, pal. And look at that, 3-second penalty to more than a Cape, now 50 seconds behind the leader, and Cape for multiple warnings of cutting the track as well. So Paul Ricard relentless as the leader, Hell is here, gets around that 9th corner. And it has been a very, very difficult race for some of these drivers. One stop so far for those bottom 3 as they had to serve penalties earlier. And you can see the position change just speaks for itself, how these penalties have negatively affected these drivers. The skies continue to darken over Circuit Paul Ricard, and these drivers could be looking towards the heavens. Icer won with a 3-second penalty now, and it's going pear-shaped for a lot of these drivers. The 3rd place Alfa Romeo now with a 3-second penalty that he must serve in the next few laps. And forgive me, but it looks like raindrops may be falling. No raindrops so far. I'm just imagining things, but the way the sky looks, you could just forgive anyone for thinking it's about to get a little bit wet out on the racing surface. Rangers 15, 6.2 seconds now on the 8th lap of competition. And there's Icer 1, who's got Leafs Justin right up his trumpet, and there goes Justin attempting the pass into turn number 4. He locks it up deep. There goes Icer 1. What an exchange there. Out of the double apex section, now onto the long straight. Here comes that racing point with no DRS. There he is. Now he opens up the DRS. Icer tries to throw the block. There's Leafs Justin to the outside, headed into the chicane. He's trying to outbrake the Alpha, and he doesn't. Go gently into the chicane section. There goes the Alpha of Icer 1. What a move to defend that final podium position. And Leafs Justin still left wanting. He can taste third place right behind that Alfa Romeo, and he is left with another gap up ahead. Into sector 3, now chasing one more time. He's going to have to get into good position right before the DRS detection zone. You can see a puff of smoke from the left front tire. The Canadian chasing the American down through the final bits of sector 3 into this long sweeping left-hander, into the tight pinched hairpin right-hander, if you will. Turn 15, down the long straight. The Alpha takes off, crossing the DRS detection zone. You can see the left thumb touches the purple button. The wing flap has been opened, and now on the 9th lap of competition, Leafs Justin coming down, trying to chase Icer, and he just can't get it done. Despite the penalty, despite the worn tires, it has just been a wonderful defense of third place by Icer 1. Leafs Justin really dialing up the pressure just a little bit harder. There you see the gap from the back of that racing point, just no one behind. And there's the move into the section one more time. They make a little bit of contact into the area, more contact through the turn 8 complex. Icer gets away with it. Leafs Justin gets shoved wide, and what a move that was, but same lap, same story. More contact as the 99 Alfa Romeo is able to defend his position from the inside, and a little bit of extracurricular activity headed into the turn 8 complex, and he hangs on to third place. But the Canadian Leafs Justin in that racing point must be fuming. ECR Kool-Aid says, "This looks like I'd crash a lot. Graphics are awesome though." Indeed they are, Kool-Aid. Let me tell you about this gorgeous game. Fans at home, for those of you that have never seen Formula 1 2020, not only is Formula 1 just the pinnacle in motorsport, but as far as video games go, what a gorgeous, gorgeous looking game as we've got some action here. Rangers coming from second place down to pit road. He's now on the hard compound. And that McLaren now sitting on the hard compound. He will be looking to go to the distance in these final 18 laps of competition. Meanwhile, the leader, as these two continue to battle, let's flash to the leader real quick, a 16-second gap to Icer 1, who now sits in second. They're going to go down the long straight. Here comes Leafs Justin to take third one more time, crossing the DRS detection zone. The wing opens up. Justin coming to make the pass into the section, now to the inside. There goes the Canadian. He finally clears Icer into the turn 8 complex. Third time's the charm. And the Canadian Leafs Justin now getting away with that pass for second place. Hell is here first. The racing point of Leafs Justin is in second. Icer 1 is in third in the Alfa Romeo. But now in the number 21 Williams, here comes Skyline. Taking it very, very wide in that very large right-hander spoon curve, if you will. Sitting in the fourth position, Skyline started this race in the worst way possible with a penalty, as you see Icer1 now coming down pit road and Leafs Justin staying out. So Leafs Justin will stay out on the mediums. Here comes Icer on these mediums. Will he get hards, or will he get more mediums to go the distance? Third place now Skyline. Here comes J-Mac taking fourth. Rangers right behind him on the hard compound, while J-Mac sits on the worn medium compound. Icer goes for softs. He goes for softs, and a big move here. This is massive. Icer could be gambling on the rain. As the skies darken, he gets the soft red compound, and I don't believe he's going to be able to stretch it all the way to the distance. Less than 18 laps remaining, and these drivers were not able to go 18 laps on the medium, so I seriously doubt Icer will be looking to go 18 laps on the soft compound. He is gambling on the rain, or he is trying to go as fast as he can and make a quick stop at the end. Strategy is underway here at Circuit Paul Ricard. David MC in 7th place in the Red Bull, still on the mediums. J-Mac in the Racing Point, still on those yellow Pirelli mediums. Here are the white Pirelli hards. Rangers X15 now in the 4th position in the number 4 Papaya McLaren. The number 2, I'm sorry, Papaya McLaren. And Dion4Dub gets yet another penalty for multiple warnings for cutting the track. Not a great afternoon for him. Skyline still on the mediums, and he continues to circulate around this racetrack. He'll make one more lap, as will Leafs Justin, the Ontario native, on these yellow Pirellis. Pit window is open for drivers on the hard tire, but no one started on that hard tire. Rangers so far, the only driver sitting on the hard tire that we know of. Gary from Canada now comes out of pit road in his Haas, damage taken care of, and it looks like he is sporting the yellow mediums. So Gary will be looking to go all the way to the finish on this medium compound, although he finds himself one lap down. Now with the leader, Hell is here. You can see he's gone 11 laps on these Pirelli mediums. How far will he take them? And if the rain comes out, will he be pitting too soon? They could be driving to the first trickles of rain. Certainly, any driver that pits too soon right before the rainfall would be in a bad way. Pulling up the full track map here, you can see we've got drivers peppered all over this lovely circuit here. Hell is here now, coming through the 3rd sector one more time out of turn 15 to complete the 12th lap of competition. And now we are on lap lucky number 13. Frozen Toes 24 says, "Hey, how are ya?" Hey, Frozen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of this. I'm so psyched to be here. It's been an eventful race so far. You can see Hell is here leading by 18 seconds to the rest of this competition. It's been a penalty-filled affair so far. If we go through our detail here, we can take a look. You can see penalties abound for some of these pilots. Skyline 21 seconds behind the leader, but no penalties since the beginning. Icer1 in the 7th position with 6 seconds worth of penalties. Dion4Dub finds himself in the 9th position with 9 seconds worth of penalties on lap 13. More than a cape with 3, and Gary from Canada rounding out the 11 drivers with 3 seconds worth of penalties in the early goings of this race. Just about to complete the halfway mark, Skyline sitting in the 2nd position in this number 21 Williams. No penalties so far, but the 21-second gap for car 21 continues to grow. Rangers on the hard compound in the 3rd position. He's been closing up the gap slowly but surely. It's now 4.1 seconds, and he can see the Williams up ahead in the distance. Just look at how smooth Rangers is on the wheel. Matter of fact, let's ride around with Rangers for just about a little less than a lap here and just see how he attacks Circuit Paul Ricard and closes the gap up ahead to Skyline. Beautiful exit through the turn 3 there. You see there's a yellow flag in sector 3. Let's see if we can catch up with some of that action, but it looks like it's been rescinded. Now, a couple of drivers must have gone for a spill. More Than a Cape seems to be doing fine. Dion 4 Dub on the straight and narrow, and David MC, now you can see he's regaining control and really sawing at that wheel. The Red Bull must have gone for a spin, and now he's coming down pit road. The Red Bull coming down pit road. So this is going to be a change of tires here. Let's go to the tire graphic, and we can see 12 laps of wear on the mediums. And there's he serving the penalty that he was meant to serve earlier today. Now they take the mediums off. They switch them for the white Pirelli hards, and now enter J-Mac now on the white Pirelli hards as well. One of the Canadians in this, I'm sorry, J-Mac's not one of the Canadians in today's race. My apologies. But he's now on the hard tire. You can see he locks it up heavy into the third corner. What a way to warm those up. Frozen Toes calls out Gary. Gary from Canada, still chugging along as hard as he can, and there's something to be said about the resilience of drivers that end up just continuing to plug away, continuing to do their work despite the penalties they might receive. You saw More Than a Cape, the graphic at the bottom of your screen indicating that he's receiving another 3 seconds of penalties. Meanwhile, the leader has come down pit road. There is Hell Is Here, 36, now on the hard medium compound. The Mercedes has come down pit road, and taking a look at that track map, you can see Rangers is right behind him. Here's Rangers in the McLaren. He's got temperature in those tires. Does he have what it takes to close the gap? 1.8 seconds up ahead to the leader. 1.635 seconds headed into turn 3 and turn 4. Leafs Justin, who's on the hard compound, 18 seconds behind. It won't make a difference, but 1.63 now. 1.68, 65, and the gap is shrinking. You can see the McLaren with a lot of oversteer out of the corner, but he's still shrinking the gap. 1.36 now. 1.4 will be the gap into the turn 8 complex. 1.7 seconds now. The gap, and Hell Is Here has temperature in these hard tires. Now out of this compound. There we go to the Mercedes. 1.76, 1.80 is now the gap from the Mercedes. And the gap continues to grow. So now on the hard compound, Rangers with five laps of wear on this hard compound. Now either has to conserve his wear or hope for the rain, because Hell Is Here, who has led every lap so far, continues to do so now with 12 laps remaining at Circuit Paul Ricard. It's been a masterclass so far, but as always, the rain can be a grand equalizer. The dark skies over France allude to raindrops falling on the heads of these pilots, but so far, we are high and dry at the lovely racetrack Circuit Paul Ricard. Still on the medium compound, looking to go to the end, and now with the fastest lap of the race at a 1:33.456. Skyline 4 in the Williams goes purple with the medium tire, and Gary from Canada now on the medium tire as well. He's only got 5 laps worth of wear. The Canadian could be looking to make his fast lap challenge, and the safety car is out. The safety car has come out. More Than a Cape has DNF'd after going around on the racetrack, and that is going to change everything. Yellow flags, SC signs lit up all over the circuit. The safety car will come out at Circuit Paul Ricard. You see More Than a Cape DNFs, and not a good finish for More Than a Cape, and he's left the session. Unbelievable ending. We'll see if we can find the race car somewhere, but it looks like he might have gone off in Sector 2. J-Mac Attack getting a little extracurricular with his. Frozen Toes asks, can Rangers overtake Hell at the restart? Absolutely, but look at Rangers. Rangers now coming down pit road. Dion Ford Dub grabs a 3-second penalty. Hell is here, staying out under the safety car period. Rangers looking to change the tire compound before the start, gain advantage. Big strategy, big move, and it could pay off with big dividends. He's on the mediums. The McLaren goes to the mediums, and this papaya-colored number 2 car is on the softer compound, now looking to challenge. There you see the McLaren team doing the job. Well done, walking off. Skyline now taking second place as he crosses the start-finish line. Leaves Justin in third on the hard compound. Rangers on fresh mediums, and he cannot overtake under the safety car period naturally. But when that restart goes off, expect big moves out of the McLaren. 2 laps worth of wear are all that are on the hard compound, but for those that don't know, fans at home, the white hard compound is naturally the hardest tire that will wear the least. It will last the longest, therefore it is the slowest of the 3 dry tires. The yellow mediums, which you find most of these drivers sitting on, is the second softest compound. It will last the medium amount of time, but will also give the second best lap times, and naturally the red Pirelli compound, the soft tire, although it wears the least, gives the fastest lap times. So the leader sitting on what is quote-unquote the slowest tire, but that doesn't necessarily mean he will be the slowest on it. Skyline in second place with those yellow mediums. Leafs Justin in third, also on hards. And on the freshest tires so far, Rangers with fresh, brand new Pirelli mediums sitting in the 4th position. You see one of the Racing Points now pulling off. Leafs Justin is coming down pit road, and the leader, Hell is here, staying out. Now Hell is here still on worn tires, but he is staying out. He retakes first place. Rangers still on those fresh tires, but now here comes Skyline in his Williams. He's looking to get brand new rubber for that race car. Leafs Justin goes to the softs, and there is the soft compound. Skyline does the same. You just saw a flash of the red Pirellis. So now the soft compound that we just mentioned is on the racetrack. This is the fastest tire, but with the highest degree of degradation, meaning it will last for the least amount of time, but it will give some insane lap times. Take a look at the bottom of your screen occasionally and watch for the purple numbers to flash up. A purple lap time indicates that a driver has taken the fastest lap of the race so far. So 3rd and 4th place, Skyline and Leafs Justin now on the fastest tire available. Icer1 finds himself in the 6th position with a time penalty on hard tires as well. Meanwhile, 8th place, the J-Mac Attack in one of the Racing Points now on the soft compound, as well as also Dion Ford Dub gets soft compounds in his Alfa Romeo. Gary from Canada, although 3rd in line, he's scored 10th on the racetrack with his mediums. ECR Kool-Aid says, hello to Frozen Toes. Hello indeed. Fans at home, thanks for joining us. Buckle up, get tight. Tell your friends, your family, your team about this race. The link is twitch.tv/I'm Rick James 36. The Shake and Bake French Grand Prix from Circuit Paul Ricard, now in its final 10 laps. It'll be 9 laps to go when they cross the line, and look at the concertina of race cars around that curve. The lights remain on the safety car, so it looks like we're going to get one more lap here. However, with the field bunched together, we could see the safety car come in this time by. One more flash at the tire compounds there. You know what you've got, and unless the rain comes out, this is what you'll run to the end. The mediums in second place, the softs in third and fourth, the freshest tires on the racetrack, also 8th and 9th respectively, sitting on soft tires as well. The leader, Hell is Here, on the hard compound into turn number 1 with more wear than the next 3 cars behind him. So he will have to go as hard as possible, knowing his tires already have experience. Frozen Toes with a big show off there in the chat. Thank you so much, Frozen. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. And fans, if you don't know about Frozen Toes 24, there's a great friendship that the commentators really do have for each other. Myself, Pete, Frozen, Atlanta, TN Vols. If you don't know about Frozen Toes 24, it's a great channel to watch, not just racing alone. The level of skill that you'll see in Shake and Bake is none other, but also the level of skill in commentary, the level of skill in racing on Frozen Toes Twitch is something to behold. Frozen Toes, it is my absolute pleasure to be here doing this Formula One race. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of such a great bit of fun. What a wonderful way to spend an afternoon watching Formula One, and so many variables. The rain could still fall in these last 10 laps. The tire fall off is going to be something to measure. There you see on the bottom of your screen, safety car in this lap. So now the question has to be posed, what are you made of? 8 laps to go when you come to the line. The Mercedes of Hell in Here sits on 4 lap-worn hard tires. Rangers in the McLaren, 2 laps on the mediums. Skyline and Leafs Justin with 1 lap on those softs. 8 laps to decide the winner. Will you have what it takes? Safety car with the lights off. Black and white flags indicating penalties for 4 of the drivers in this 10-car field. Out of turn 15, the safety car lights still on. Drivers accelerate. Yellow lights are off. They cross the line. 8 laps to go at Paul Ricard. Wonderful attack through turns 1 and 2. Rangers in the McLaren trying to turn up the pressure. The wick burns a little closer to the wax. Pressure right on the gearbox of that Mercedes. Mercedes, McLaren, William, Racing Point, Alfa Romeo, your top 5 out of turn 6, headed for the straight. DRS not enabled, but he's got the toe. Rangers has the toe, moving to the outside, weaving back and forth, headed into turn 8. There on the outside, he's going to try the crossover. Hell is Here's messed it up. He's messed it up into turn 8. Big mistake. Crosses the rumble strips, and look at the gap to the leader now. Down the straight, he's lost second place, and the leader on the medium compound now back to third. Leafs Justin behind him in fourth. Out of the straight, now into the wide spoon curve complex. Rangers in the McLaren, Skyline in the Williams, Hell in the Mercedes. Leafs Justin in the Racing Point in fourth. Huge mistake headed into the turn 8 complex, and with a clever crossover, Rangers now into first place. Clever cookie at the front of this competition. 7 to go at the line. Skyline in the Williams, and look at the purple numbers just tick up on the bottom of your screen. Fastest lap on the soft compound, Skyline 1:32.439. Purple lights on the scoreboard, and there is the indication that the race for first has not been completed. While Rangers leads, he sits on the medium compound, and the Williams sitting in the second position is on the soft tire. He'll have a tow down the straight out of turn 6 through turn 7, and look at Rangers weaving, trying to break the draft, or the tow, if you will. Rangers knows Skyline is coming on the soft compound, and that Williams is focused. Attacks the apex with one wheel on the curve. A little bit of oversteer through the corner, but he mashes the gas, and now he's down the straight. Blue flags in the air for the slow cars. McLaren, Williams, and now Racing Point, your top three. Welcome, Leafs Justin, one of the Canadians in today's race of the three that we have. Skyline's been given a 3-second penalty. The second place driver has been awarded a 3-second penalty for exceeding track limits, and a big implication in this race. Now this turns the entire running order upside down. The Alpha of Icer that sits in 5th place with penalties. Dion, David, Gary with penalties as well, but the second placed Williams of Skyline, now with I believe 6 laps to go, has another 3-second penalty on the soft tires, and only the rain could save him now. DRS has now been enabled, so 2nd and 3rd place, if they are within. Rangers the leader now. Unbelievable. The leader has exceeded the track limits, and he's been given a 3-second penalty. So if the race ends now, Leafs Justin would be declared your winner. Huge mistake by the leader, and now you can see he weaves, trying to break the toe left, right, into the right-hander, and Rangers now has to think about the gap to the back. Does he continue to extend the lead, wearing the mediums further, or does he enter preservation mode, just trying to hang on to as many positions as he can? He could also serve the penalty and put on the soft compound, given the gap to last place is quite large. We're coming to the final 5 laps at Paul Ricard. McLaren, Williams, Racing Point, your top 3 out of turn 15. A lockup from the Williams, now down the straight. Leafs Justin, penalty free on the soft compound. Flicks up the DRS button, and he's on the attack. ECR Kool-Aid says it's getting spicy indeed, and this is one spicy race. Paul Ricard offers this incredible action here in the closing laps of this race. Skyline in 2nd, Rangers in 1st with these penalties. So now Leafs Justin in the Racing Point has one job and one job only: don't get a penalty. Hell is Here is coming up right behind him, and you can see the Mercedes has closed the gap on the hard compound, and this tire will go the distance, albeit with 3 laps more wear than the soft compound of Leafs Justin in the Racing Point. However, Leafs Justin with no penalties does not need to apply the pressure. As long as he stays within 3 seconds of Rangers, he will be the race winner. They're coming to the final 4 laps of competition. There is the interval to the leader. It's only 2 seconds back to the leader, and Leafs Justin still finds himself in a position to win this race. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only repeat 1975 has entered the chat, and much like Frozen Toes, repeat 1975 has the silver commentary tongue. One of my favorites to work with, and there's the move for 2nd place, that Leafs Justin finally gets around the Williams of Skyline. And that Racing Point with a clever pass into the corner now through 3 and 4, the right-left chicane into the double apex. It now goes McLaren, Racing Point, Williams, your top 3, Dion with another penalty. And let's go ahead and pull up the penalty graphic here. 15 seconds worth of penalties for the 5th placed Alfa Romeo, and here's his teammate Icer with 9 seconds behind him. And it's been that kind of race for Dion 4Dub, although he finds himself rounding out the top 5. It's not going to be that way when the dust settles and the time sorts all of these drivers, excuse me. Skyline in the 3rd position with Hell is Here coming up behind him. Hell is Here with that mistake on the restart there. And that mistake, you see, it sent him down to the 4th position and sitting on the hard compound. He was dominating this race, leading virtually every single lap up until the safety car, and after the safety car, the mistake headed into the turn 8 chicane. Just went in a little too hard, overcooked it, and Rangers in the McLaren was able to cross over into first place. However, take a look in the top left-hand corner. It's a 3-second penalty that's being awarded to this McLaren, and that gap over Leaf's Justin is about to extend to over 3 seconds. But now you can see Justin trying to turn the screw, and there's the 3-second threshold just about to be crossed. Rangers could still win this race if the gap to second place is greater than 3 seconds. 2 1/2 laps remain at Circuit Paul Ricard. Repeat says you got to have Jedi reflexes to race these courses. It seems like it, doesn't it, Pete? It's quite a difficult game. Frozen Toes says, I'd be out turn 1. Frozen, I'm right there with you. It's a very difficult game, but the beauty of the game itself and the racing, the cars, there's just something magical about Formula One, and something otherworldly about Formula One, being the pinnacle of motorsport, the very best that a driver can achieve, and for good reason. It's been just a magical series of racing since the 1950s all the way up until today, giving us names like Fangio, giving us names like Senna, Hill, Prost, and now giving us names like Rangers X15 in this number 2 Papaya car. 2 laps to go at Circuit Paul Ricard. The gap is now 3.8 seconds to the Ontario native Leafs Justin with no penalties. However, Skyline finds himself with a 3-second penalty with Hell is Here right behind him, and you can see the intervals now less than 1 second. If the race ends now, Skyline will find himself with a 4th place finish. Just before I was rudely interrupted by Leafs Justin making that pass for second place, we were talking about Repeat 1975, one of my broadcasting partners, one of the best I've ever had the privilege to work with. If you scroll up the chat, you'll find Repeat, you'll find Frozen Toes' link in here as well. And I'm going to go ahead and plug one more commentator, the gentleman who could not be here today, the one and only Atlanta Racing. And Atlanta is another one of those just elite commentators that is my privilege to work with almost on a weekly basis. And this booth is 50% complete, Atlanta. If you're out there, if you can hear us, buddy, we miss you. Wish you were here, but we'll have you next week, my friend. So that's going to be Repeat, Frozen Toes, and Atlanta, whose links we're going to put in the chat right now. Give them a visit. Let them know that you appreciate their craft. Some of the best commentators in the game. Sector 2 yellow flag is out. Now Sector 2 and Sector 3, some drivers going for some thrills and spills at Paul Ricard, and you can see Gary from Canada very slow, and it looks like he might be missing one of the end plates on that Haas. He is indeed missing one of the end plates on the Haas. The yellow flag remains in Sector 3 as Rangers collects that white flag, if you will. And now just one more lap remains for this McLaren. Hell is Here, now taking second place. And you saw on the leaderboard, this Mercedes absolutely making mincemeat of the Canadian Leafs Justin in the Racing Point, and Skyline in the Williams. Barring any further disasters, this is going to be the finishing order, but take a look at Skyline. He's now on the attack for Leafs Justin. Does he have something for third place? Coming into the Turn 8 compound. DRS is on, moves to the inside. Will he outbrake him? And he overcooks it way too hard into the compound. There goes Leafs Justin on the outside. And the same mistake Hell is Here made is the same mistake that Skyline makes, and that's going to keep him in the 4th position. Hell is Here doesn't overcook it and sits in second, but meanwhile, using pit strategy and using a smooth driving style, that's going to see him in first place. Rangers X15 now taking it nice and easy with a 3-second penalty. That's not going to make a difference with a 6.3 second gap to the leader out of the final corner. One more time, and at circuit Paul Ricard for McLaren Racing, it's Rangers X15 winning the Shake and Bake French Grand Prix. Pete says, if I get a PC and a capture card with my artistic abilities, I would rival Frozen. Pete, there is no rival there. It would be a collaboration, if anything. But thank you so much for the encouragement, my friend, and thank you all of you tuning in for your encouragement, for your participation in the chat. Thank you so much, Frozen, for the bits. Thank you, Kool-Aid, for the bits. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Thank you so much. We'll see if we can get a short word in here with our race winner, Rangers X15, but what a fantastic way, and yes, indeed, the driver of the day, Rangers X15, but what a fantastic win. Let's see if we can get a word in here edgewise. Rangers, go ahead and include your audio for the fans at home. You got me, pal? Rangers, you got me, buddy? No word from Rangers there, but that's... Let's take a look here. One more time. Rangers X15, driver of that beautiful McLaren. You got me, pal? Rangers, hey, he's got me. Go ahead and include your audio for the fans at home. Congratulations on that win, my friend. Way to get that done, buddy.
We were on a preset 3 there, and it was pretty tight.
Now, given that you had that tough tire strategy, at what point did you decide that the medium tire was going to take you to the end?
Practice sessions leading up last day or so, the softs really fell off hard. 7 to 9 laps. We were on that like 10, 11 lap. At the end after the safety car, and I figured that the mediums, if I could just hold them off and stay in front of them, I figured I could pull away, and that's what happened with the medium.
Beautifully done there with those medium tires, and your strategy puts you at the top step of the podium, Rangers. Congratulations on your French Grand Prix victory. Fans at home, that's going to do it for us here today, but before we go, I've got to give it up to these fans in the chat. Frozen, thank you so much. ECR Kool-Aid subscribes, Pete subscribes, and some bits to boot. My friends, thank you so very, very much for your patronage, for your subscriptions, for your time, for everything. We are here for the love of racing. We are here for community and for each other. Thank you so very, very much. Fans at home, you can catch this race and more right on this channel, twitch.tv/I'm Rick James 36, and next week, Shake and Bake continues the Formula One circus next Saturday, approximately 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully, we'll have Atlanta here in the chat to bring a little more fun to the action. But what an afternoon, what a race for everyone involved, for Repeat, Frozen, Kool-Aid, Sober David, who now says a good job on the broadcast, Rangers X15 getting the win in the French Grand Prix. Have a beautiful, safe Thanksgiving.